Hello and welcome to another episode of Kohler Commentary. We actually did back-to-back episodes, so I'm going to say that Matt is really overextending himself right now. Thank you, Matt. But why are we doing this? So my guest for today is Matt Kohler. Why are you joining me today, Matt?
Because our anniversary is coming up on April 28th.
Well, how many years are we celebrating?
7.
What city did we get married in?
Dripping Springs.
What was our venue?
Oh, man, I don't remember what it's called. It was in Dripping Springs.
Camp.
Lucy.
And what animal was roaming the grounds?
I don't remember.
Alpacas.
Oh, yeah, I do remember.
We had like a little cottage.
Yeah, at the bottom.
Oh, hey, you got enough, right? Not bad, not bad. Wow, now I'm thinking about our actual anniversary,
We saw
like our
alpacas
actual wedding.
in Texas and in South America.
Oh, yeah, because Machu Picchu,
Peru.
but the sweater that's made from alpaca. All right, so happy 7 years soon. And
Long time.
What would be your favorite wedding memory? Now, I wasn't planning on talking about the actual wedding, but since I'm thinking about Camp Lucy at Dripping Springs with the outdoor, beautiful, scenery, what was your favorite thing about the wedding?
Favorite wedding memory? I liked our service, our vows, I think the whole wedding service. I think that's what I think of first actually when I think of our wedding is when we're standing at the front and that whole the whole thing.
The whole thing?
That whole thing when we're.
But what about it made it so memorable for you?
No,
if you could describe it, what makes it memorable?
It's just all the people there, and then.
You're really just thinking about how your speech was so good.
No, both were good.
Well, I didn't say mine was not good.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you're thinking about your speech.
No, I'm thinking about the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, the worship, the people involved, us being able to talk to each other in that moment, in front of everyone. Yeah, just the ceremony, I think.
I would echo that. I think that we did a good job of making sure our vows were funny or good, in terms of maybe some entertainment, but it really did point to Christ. And I think our ceremony pointed to him, and whether it's even my pastor who married us and just kind of a testimony in that, maybe some of the groomsmen on your side, my students singing a dedication song to us. Yeah. I think there were very many imprints of God.
And I think the non-ceremony stuff kind of feels like a blur, but the ceremony feels more slowed down in my head.
Well, because our song was, take a moment to remember. When I was one of the songs.
I should quiz you. What was the song that we walked up to?
It was our Greatest Showman.
Yeah, which one?
Instrumental, but it was your favorite. And I don't know the name.
Nice,
yeah, it was
song.
And it was an instrumental version of it. We had our favorite third wheel, Juan He, on the.
What was the song?
He did it with June and Katie and Simon, which. By the time this airs, Juan He's going to be an engaged man. And that's really exciting. And hopefully we can have him on the podcast because that's a new transition and something we should celebrate together. But anyways, beyond that. What do you mean, what's the song? Greatest Showman. This is the greatest show.
No, I know. What was the song that they sang, the band sang?
Take a moment to remember and build my life. You mean that one? I know that one. Anyways.
There's too much talk about this.
Well, what was your favorite part about the reception?
I feel like the dance floor is pretty fun.
For 2 very bad dancers, we had a good dance floor. I was pleasantly surprised. I remember one of mine is always when my dad decided to read my card out loud. Yeah. And then Alex Nam, my bridesman, had to translate that card into Korean for our Korean guests that my parents invited. But in that card, I was telling them I was going to become a woman tonight. So Alex had to translate that. So thank you, Alex, for all your
It's weird you
support.
wrote that in card to your dad in the first place.
Well, it's not just to my dad. It was to my parents. I was saying thank you guys for raising me. And I also do it was a private card to my parents and just thanking them for the life that they gave me. And at the end, I was just making a joke, which was, I guess, true. But then he decided to read it. But it was actually good he read that because I think his speech was really bad. So I guess he wanted to,
basically
spruce
just
it
use
up.
that as his speech.
Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah.
whatever works.
I know. But yeah, I would say I also enjoyed our dance floor. And it was like cool to see people mingling that weren't just like friends in that moment, but like maybe knew of each other at a different season of life and coming together. So thank you guys if you did attend our wedding. And remember, we asked you to hold us accountable. Do you know what Jaden said? I asked him today, what do you think about when you think of us as marriage? And he goes, you guys argue so much.
Well,
Who do you think argues more, you or me?
you.
Really?
Yes.
I think I am a more expressive arguer, but I don't think I argue more than you.
I think you do.
Interesting. Maybe it's the expressiveness that makes you think that.
No.
Interesting. I would say some of our closest friends would also say interesting.
Maybe.
Okay. But all right, let's fast forward it to 7 years. And in this 7th year, what is something new you learned about me?
I mean, I think, well, since it started out sounding bad, but it's not. I think I like realized.
See, this is one of the ways you're picking fights, but it becomes like, oh,
it's
no,
not
no,
picking
no.
fight.
Okay.
It's answer your question. I think just like how I learned how sort of deep some of the insecurities in terms of like your identity run. Just because like this is the season sort of separate from like motherhood as your primary. They're still primary, but you know they're in daycare. So and just the struggle of like, okay, like what's the next identity and like not
Not
sure.
identity, but like role.
Yeah, role.
Identity is such a big word.
So role. But just how like heavily that weighs on you when it feels like your role isn't what it should be. But then I've seen you like really dive into it to like, I think there was a season where that was a really negative kind of thought process in your head. And then at some point you started changing it into like, okay, like let's really find that out and like seek like with God and with you sort of like what's next and being able to look at different potential opportunities or just ways that maybe like that can become something good for you. So I don't know. I feel like I saw you run this whole gambit of really feeling lost in this like idea of what rolls next. And I think as like your relationship with God, I think was starting to reaffirm again and all these things, seeing you kind of now approach it in, I think, a much healthier way where I think there's a lot of excitement of, oh yeah, like I think the next season can be really special, just figuring out still what that is, but in a much different way. So I think I didn't realize how tough it would be at first with like that hole, I guess, that came once both kids entered daycare. But then it's been cool seeing you navigate it once you got out of like the deepest part of that
Dude, you
hole.
said the same thing like 3 times in a row just now. Like,
well, just trying to really describe it.
no, yeah, I agree. I am surprised that you're surprised by that because I feel like that would have been an obvious.
I'm less surprised. It's just like that your role was defined for you for so many years. So I don't know if I was surprised.
But even if I
about it.
want to define it, I can't just define it. There's years of additional investment I have to put into. Like, let's say I want to be a doctor next. That's like 8 years of something.
Yeah.
Like, not saying I want to be a doctor, absolutely not. But like, not offensively. Like, that's just not an option of ours right here. But you know, it's like, sure, if I could just outlandishly dream what I want to do, then, and will I have my whole family invest in that? But no, because we've already made our decision on where our investment is. And I think that's still the biggest, but like a gap is like, I don't just get to decide whatever I want to do. I only get to decide still within first my role as a mom, because I will have to drop everything no matter what. Like, that's not something you can do.
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually seem as free as you think.
Yeah, no, for
and
sure.
I think that's what I wanted you to understand was like, I'm only getting to figure this, but it's like, it's still within the hours. Like, I can't hustle in a way that I could before. Like, things that I find very true to who I am, I can't necessarily do that unless we compromise certain values we do have for our kids in terms of raising.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Oh, okay. I agree with what you're saying, but then you're saying it's like this deep insecurity, but it's not so much an insecurity of like, I don't know what to do next. It's like, I don't know what to do next with the
No, I think
confines
it started as a deep insecurity because you were like, I have to make money.
Make money, yes.
I have. So
okay, I agree with that.
But that's what I'm saying. And it's transformed to something different. So that has been good to see. I think that's starting to fade away. And now it's more just like, okay, you do have these restrictions and boundaries, but within that, there's like an actual hopefulness of, okay, like this next thing might make sense for you. And so it's trending in a healthier direction.
I feel that too. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I guess this answers the question of who argues more. I don't think it's arguing though. I think it's just kind of like clarifying and being on the best same page possible of like verbiage and like things like that.
Well, you finally needed to clarify a lot of things.
Yes. Yes,
So
I
if
do.
you wanna
And I'm
call that
proud of that.
arguing.
I think that's a communication skill as
No,
well.
this isn't arguing.
Anyways, for me, I learned recently after I came back from New York that, so I think it's also similar, the gap that sometimes I feel like you don't see for me. It's like for you, I'm like, I take these kids on like as many like 1 day type of stuff, like if I can, or week-long trips if I can, right? Because in my head, I'm also like, okay, let me like give Matt some free time as well. Like obviously I want to take the kids on these experiences, but in my head, I'm also hoping to relieve you of something, right? But in our last conversation, I also learned that, you know, it may be in me feeling like, oh, does he appreciate that? Like it's like a suffering experience, although it's worth it. I learned that, you know, like you do wish to join us in these, but you feel stuck in your circumstances as well. And I think like sometimes I'm sad that maybe both of us feel stuck in our separate ways, because that is kind of like the journey we did decide to invest in, you know, for our family. But I think just understanding that helps approach each other or even expect appreciation differently from each other, because we're able to understand like where this grief of travel or whatnot comes from.
Yeah, that segues pretty well, I think, into another question that I think you messaged me this like right before we started, so I didn't really prepare anything.
Oh,
but
good job. I love interactive.
There's a question you wrote. When did you feel most seen or loved by me recently? Or even the next one. What's one challenge we handle? But more specific, I guess, to the idea of being seen, because I think I expressed that to you, just the idea that like, yeah, like I'm in this role that needs to be done. And yeah, we chose that role and it affords us a lot of opportunities, but like, I do feel stuck. So yeah, I explained this idea that when you guys are gone, I can like rest and relax, but I'm also feel like I'm missing out on experiences because I'm stuck, and like that really eats at me. And I think since then, it's been very abundantly clear to me that you've like tried to give me the opportunity to have like experiences, even if it's just like a planned thing down the road, or even just like a willingness to help me feel unstuck by maybe just needing like a few hours here and there. But I think just the idea of like recognizing that my day, because my day is not like draining from like a standpoint of it takes all these hours. Like it's kind of fairly reasonable like work hours, but like I just feel like I can't separate myself from it. And, you know, I think whether it's like little experiences in the day to day or week to week, or even like a quick willingness if I wanted to do something like a trip down the road where I,
what are you doing,
I get
Matt?
to go something. You know, like at one point, like I was this like a Grand Canyon hike, which I ended up not doing because I don't think it ended up making sense schedule wise. But you were like, you probably didn't love the idea of it, but you were still okay with me trying to like find a way to fit it in, or like, yeah, to go see my sister for a few days, like in June, or
Alone.
Yeah,
That's
alone.
why.
Yeah.
This is not with kids.
Going by myself.
Just to clarify.
No, it just has felt like you really took those words of mine and like tried to apply them, even when it probably like, I don't know, isn't the most exciting thing for you to anticipate me being gone for certain chunks of time.
Well, I am always trying to apply your words, but I miss a lot of times. And I think that's where I learned from our last conversation was like, because I thought what I was trying to do was also to help you, right? So I'm like, why doesn't it feel like he appreciates, you know? So I think that conversation was helpful because in a vulnerable moment of how you shared that with me, then I was able to understand a little bit more of what it is that you are asking, you know, versus like you just say one thing and then I do tend to try, okay, how can I apply this? But I don't apply it fully, or I don't hear you fully. And so then it's actually just missing the mark.
Yes.
If I am also to answer that question when it comes to the Grand Canyon thing, it's not that I didn't like it in terms of not wanting you to have that experience, but something I've shared is that sometimes I feel like you might want to have these experiences without me or family, right? And so that was something where I felt very seen as like another trip you might, we don't know if you'll do this, but where, you know, like let's say I go into like a sadder first reaction, then you'll be like, oh my gosh, why are you doing that? Like, okay, fine, I'll never do this again. I'll never bring it up again, right? And like that makes me actually feel more misunderstood because I just tend to have a little bit more emotion and then I'm trying to process and then I'm trying to like come back to you. And it's like, it's not that I would ever want to take away experiences from you, but I don't want to believe that you would only want to do experiences without me. And I think we came to a common ground on that where your first response was like, okay, fine, I won't bring this trip up. And it's not that. Like, I want you to be able to do that. I just also want you to know where I might be like sad about it, you know? And it's not like that I would have to be with the kids at home, but I just do hope someday, like, I am in those opportunities when life is able to be that way. So I appreciated the way that you let me feel an emotion that was separate from why you asked that and then ultimately come to the same page.
Yeah. I'm hoping to plan a 2026 adventure for us.
I guess I'm trying to go to Korea in 2026 without you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. But what's one inside joke from this year that we will laugh about at the age 80?
I know this one's hard when I was looking at it right before. Inside joke?
I think for
you
me,
have one, you go first.
I think for me, I was like trying not to think too hard on it, but like that Evan loves Appa more than me. You know, like it's like a little thing, you know, it's like, you know, and at 80, I don't think that's going to matter. But anytime I say like, Amma loves you, he'll literally go like, no, Appa love me, you know? And I think that's a cute little inside joke from this year because that's when it started. Contrary to what you believe and what you tell others, that it's been more than a year or
like about a year.
It's been 6 months.
We don't need to get into that timing.
So what about you? When I said that, was there any other inside joke that came to mind?
I don't know. I don't have a good one for this.
Fine. Okay, you pick the next question then.
I like the ones that just will kind of get our creative juices flowing. So how about, I guess, either you asked what's a mini adventure you want us to take in the next year, or how can we make more time for joy in the ordinary this year? So I guess one of the two, either like a specific little thing or in the more day-to-day, what's a way to just like increase our togetherness?
Well, I think you created a mini adventure for us for this year.
In the Bahamas?
Yes.
You're so like...
Well, if we're talking about anniversaries, we can talk about our honeymoon.
Yeah, but that was like realistically really challenging.
It was like nearly 3 weeks
so
of
there's no we got a good
suffering.
Context of what this is. We're going to the Bahamas for a family trip, and I'm planning just a day trip that's going to be very relaxing during
We're waking up at like 5 a.m.
So the only not relaxing is just waking up early. We're like parents of 2 kids who have woken up early.
Not that early. Exactly. Parents of 2 kids, and you're asking me to wake up at 5 a.m. and then we're gonna. I mean,
wake up at 5.
I'm very grateful.
Like, close to 6.
But like, yes, it sounds great. If we were like singles going to the Bahamas, and this would be like the most adventurous day. Like you're waking up early, you're flying a plane, you're going to 6 different stops on a boat, and then you're coming back by like what, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yes, I like that we're coming back in time to be with our kids before like bedtime and stuff. However, like it just like gave me, and this shows the PTSD of like our honeymoon was 2.5 weeks of sleeping in the bus, sleeping in the airplane, never having more than 1 to 2 nights in a place, getting hives, getting like
this is like
motion sickness.
Just waking up early to be picked up at the airport, to have our entire itinerary planned for us, including food and activities.
I understand
they're even like, all you have to do is bring a bathing suit and sunscreen, and everything else is just like sitting.
I am just trying to explain that I do have PTSD from are past. And like for you, this is enjoyable, but I just like these are these gaps. Like you can have full enjoyment about it, and me, I will have to plan all the things to just make sure for the kids that day, because that's just how a mother's mind works. And then I have to worry about like, oh my gosh, you're gonna wake up without us. I know that's gonna be uncomfortable for whoever's in charge of getting them within your family, and I'm so grateful for them. But I also know it's gonna be hard, and that discomfort is going to make me feel bad. It just is.
Yeah. Mom and dad brain differences.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not excited, but like also I get motion sickness. I'm not as excited about like pigs, but you keep like marketing, but you keep saying, oh, pigs, you get to swim with pigs. And I'm like, it is. And I'm excited, but there's nothing like about that yet hikes you don't consider me for, you know what I'm saying? Well, anyways.
Regular hikes. I do want to.
So I'm excited because it's gonna be nice, and I just hope we get back safely.
Hopefully that's not our last mini adventure of the year.
Well, I think that will be our last like
travel
adventure. Yeah. And I think in terms of make more time for joy in the ordinary, I still would like you to coordinate like a entire date night, because sometimes you ask me like, can you find a sitter, and then I'll plan the date night. I think finding sitters are even harder. So coordinating that kind of whole date night, like those are ordinary days of the year, but that is an exciting thing to look forward to. So I think like that's something simple that I would like, you know, or if it is the whole family, that's fine too, but something that's intentionally planned that is difficult in terms of that. Is there anything you think we can make more time for joy in the ordinary this year?
Yeah, and we could probably do better in like how we spend our time together in the evenings, just on a nightly basis, or like a mundane basis. I think I feel like we almost have forgotten how to enjoy each other on a non-special night. And like sometimes we do, but that feels more rare than just like two people who consistently on just like an average night just like know how to enjoy each other's company. And so I think we can, because I think we like have fun together.
I think we did have fun together, but with kids, I think
we
our interests really showed the differences. Because the things we really had fun together were like active stuff that like we couldn't, like even like when in the beginning of this year when we started kind of working out together, it was kind of fun. Like it brought back an enjoyment I hadn't felt in a long time. Yet we cannot realistically do that, because I will not spend my final hour of the day doing that when I.
Yeah, but I think like we can, like it's just we are in patterns of not. So
what would that look like? Because like for me, sometimes it's thinking like watching a drama together, but you don't like drama.
But that's the thing. I think it would look.
How do we find the medium?
I think there's a lot of, because I think some night it could be a board game, some night it could be a drama, some nights it could be just a conversation topics that we prepare. But I think these are all like ordinary, mundane things, but we just choose to kind of forego all of them usually, and then it just kind of becomes.
If you could think right now, what is an ideal 2-hour hangout or 1.5-hour hangout?
Well, I don't think there is an ideal, because I think a lot of these things could be fun.
Just like, I'm not saying
in the evening.
Yeah, just like if you think about it right now, like, you know, ideate out loud.
I think maybe, I don't know, either preparing or ordering like a dessert that we could eat together while talking about like topics that we want to talk about. Are they fun? And then shifting to either like a series we're watching together, or maybe there's like a sport on that we want to watch, or maybe it is like a game night that someone kind of prepares in advance. I don't know, some nights we can do it. But I think there's a lot of different things we
we do it, by the way. It's not like we don't do it. Okay,
just saying ideal night.
Okay.
That could be in it. But I just feel like there's a lot of things we could enjoy doing together. We just like have to remind ourselves that we would. Like I would love to watch an NBA playoff game with you, but that's just like a very mundane thing that.
But I would love to do that with you while I'm doing something.
Yeah. Like maybe
sometimes you're like, don't do anything else and just watch this show.
And there could be a lot of things to do with that in the background. Like it could be a game, it could be talking, it could be whatever. So I'm saying I think there's a lot of things we could. We're just sort of really out of practice of just seeing evenings as kind of first our time, and then if it just happens to be something together, like great. But I think the default is just like okay, now it's our time, and maybe it overlaps with each other.
I see that.
Instead of the default being, oh, this is our time.
Yeah.
And
I do think that's something I wish I was more open to doing more often once Evan did go to school, since that's before it was like I was with like kids all the time, so it really drained me, so I think the my time was more important in the past. I mean, one of the things also like sell is like 2 overnights automatically. For me, an ideal date night would look like maybe a virtual cooking class, or I like experiences. I don't know. Or like you order something and you try a wine tasting together, like, but at
kind of
home.
aligns with what I said. I said ordering a dessert.
Yeah.
Or making a
But like
dessert.
sometimes you get these like weird,
You
I
can
know what
order
you're
whatever
talking
you
about.
want.
Yeah. Because I'm just trying to think of like whether it's like a wine and cheese pairing thing, but like they have things like that, like
Those are like, that's like a one-off date night. That's not like a norm date night.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
a
but I'm
virtual
just saying,
wine
like,
tasting.
we don't even do any of these, though. Like,
Right.
I'm saying, like, we don't even go out unless my family's in town,
Yeah.
right? So
Well, I'm
it's
saying
like,
it's both.
we can go and get a sitter and go out to eat a meal, or, like, we can also do these things, like, every once a month, but that would become more than we do now. So it's like,
Yeah. No,
for
the one-offs
someone,
would be
like,
good, too.
the normalcy, yes, it's a thing, too, but I think these one-offs are actually part of the ordinary day as
I
well.
want to see like a comedy show together.
Oh, shakama.
Like go out, get drinks, see a comedy show.
You said that, but we didn't do it.
Yeah, but I said
Like, I want to
to.
see you execute it. Because I remember you said that like a year ago and we were almost going to, but then you didn't get the tickets.
Yeah, but yeah, that kind of thing would be fun too. Or
Yeah.
like what's it called? A musical.
I wanted to go to Lion King in June during the day. You
Yeah.
said no.
Yeah, because we have all these other expenses.
Because you've already seen it.
That's not why.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure
You're going to
Lion King was May.
No, Lion King's in June.
Because I actually saw a Moulin Rouge one. But at the end of the day, I was like, we have kind of other things in June already. But at some point, like in the year, I would like to do either a musical or like a comedy show. That'd be a good goal of mine sometime in 2025.
What are the expenses that we can't do a Broadway show?
We
'Cause
can.
there are like, for me, I would rather do like 4 bigger date nights at home than go to the Bahamas 1-day trip. Because that's like the cost, right? It's an expensive day trip, so we won't do certain things. And I'm okay with going there, but for you, it's like a given that would be what we're going to do. But for me, I would much rather use that same money, which could split into like, honestly, 5 really nice hangouts in June when you're off.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think even our approach to like travel or things like that is so different, which is okay. But then like in the future, it's like talking through what makes sense in this time versus like if we miss out on a certain experience, will we then use that money for certain things within our like day to day?
Yeah. Maybe I'll look back a little closer at the June shows. I'm inspired.
Okay, let's pick another question.
These really aren't that expensive either. Anyways.
That's what I was saying,
on.
but you automatically just said
Well,
that.
I said,
but
let me
I don't know
look back
why.
into it.
Yes, so look into it and then we can make decisions. Anyways, what is something you want to try together this year, big or small? I guess it's a creative one too.
Try together. I think I would like to do like a shared like growth goal together. I don't really know what that would be, but something that like we're working towards the same goal. Like I feel like I work out on my own. You have like kind of personal, like your podcast and your Enneagram stuff, and I don't know. We have like individual
And I
goals
got my
that pop
first
up.
brand deal.
Yeah, but I feel like we don't have like a shared goal that we could like see our progress together, or like to work towards something like the same thing aligned.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's
what that would
fun.
be.
I feel like that's fun to do with like a loved one, to like work towards something in unison. But
Yeah. Oh, like, some families do like visit all the national parks, like even though that's not like in 1 year. But I would like to do stuff like that. But I don't think it's actually feasible for us to think of like, we already have stuff that take up our time. We can't add something else that big into our life to share that.
anything that answers this question is going to take up time.
No, I know, but like we would have to give up working out, or I mean, even our books aren't the same if we would try to read books together. Like what would What would that look like? I hear you, but
It could be like a book.
But you like fantasy.
Well, maybe we
and
can
only
find...
like the really nerdy fantasy.
At some point, I would like to go. I'd like to do another like. This might not be this year, but we could sometimes do like a road trip with the boys. We did a road trip with Jaden, and that was, even though that was kind of hard, and he was really young, and he got sick. But that was a kind of a standout memory, like the whole trip, honestly. Like even just stopping at random places in like Arkansas. Like I remember that chapel we stopped at in the woods. I remember the lake where he had all the rashes, and then when we actually got to Branson. But like, yeah, it was like a road trip to Missouri, and road trips are cool. I don't know, and I think our kids could do it, especially like a year from now. So maybe that's more of a 2026 thing, but that's something I could start planning even. But I feel like road trips make really cool memories, and we can like
my favorite
customize
memories growing up is our ski trips where we drove 12 hours, 13 hours.
Yeah, so I would love to do that with us.
I would be very excited for that. How do you feel about having a kindergartner soon? What are your immediate anxieties?
Anxiety is just,
or
is he going to have good kids around him? That's my only anxiety. Everything else I'm excited. I'm excited for the cost. That's zero. I'm excited for just like bigger social settings for him to be exposed to. I'm excited for him to probably like learn new things he likes doing, like subjects or specific subject matters. So the learning. My only anxiety is just like, I hope he's around good kids.
Me too.
Are just
kids
nice.
are mean.
Yeah.
And that makes me very scared.
And at the very least, that he finds like a group of kids that are like his friends, like his closest friends, because he doesn't have to like everyone. Yeah. And I think largely, I mean, realistically, I don't think like any worst case outcomes, but I don't want him to feel like lonely. I want him to have kids that he likes.
I'm so sad we're breaking up with Luca.
Yeah.
Just in terms of school.
But I'm real confident in his ability to adapt and find that, but it's still nerve-wracking before it happens.
Yeah, same. The friendships, I do hope, I feel like he feels very comfortable at school, so I hope he can feel that same confidence as it grows for him. I am also like, I think he'll be fine, but you know, we did send them to a daycare that's very church-based, and like Faith is very normal, and I think Faith is very normal in his day-to-day conversations. And I do picture someone saying like, no one is stronger than this guy from 18th century or King Alexander. I don't know. No one was stronger. And then he goes like, God is stronger. And then they say like, they like shut him down. I don't know. Like there's a part that's like, I do think he is such a curious learner in academics and also in his faith. And obviously we can just, and I told you, like, we need to do a better job of like doing that at home more and more, because he won't get to do that daily at daycare or school. And then I am also very excited. He loves learning, and I'm just excited for elementary. I feel like elementary is when you learn without like a homework pressure or like deadlines. It's like this really like you just learn. I still remember loving like learning what a simile is and like trying to figure out how to compare something to one, like with the as or the like. And so I'm excited to see what makes him light bulb in his eyes.
Yeah. What's one challenge we handled really well together this year?
I don't know. I think we handled hosting and leading 2 different cell groups every week for what will be 9 months of the year. I think that's really hard to do. And, I mean, last year you led, but this year now we both host. Because last year I hosted and led, and now we both host and we lead. And I think, one, it's like we have 2 nights out of the week where we don't get to spend time, right, with one another. And then the other person is taking care of the kids. And then I feel like that also means like we're pouring into these people, not just on that week, but outside of that week and covering them. And I think that's a lot. And so I think I'm pretty proud of us for doing that well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Do you have another one?
Yeah, I think in general we've handled the really lows better than any other year. Like we've
only had one humongous low, and that was when we both got the flu in February. Like that was a humongous
I barely even
low.
remember that one.
Yeah. I don't want to remind you about that one.
But I feel like the really low lows can still happen, but they're not quite the same as they used to be in just like the extended hopelessness of them. Like, that feels very different this year. So that says something about us, I think.
I agree. What is a parenting tip you would give to someone that is married? I guess since we're thinking more marriage based.
Yeah. I think when I read this, no, not really to do with parenting. When I read this, I think what popped in my mind is just like, I think when you truly want good things for your partner as much or more than you want it for yourself, everything falls into place. And it kind of coincides with what I said before, like when I voiced myself and I felt in my heart her response of like, okay, I want that not to be something I feel. So like if I come up with an idea of something I could do, if it's like annoying for you to have to manage something to allow me to do it, it feels like you want to. And I feel like I've felt a lot more of this, like in things that maybe you have going on. I try to intentionally think like, I want her to do this, so I can tell what I don't want to do that's going to result from this. But the first thing I'm going to think of is she wants to do this, and like that's going to weigh heavier than the stuff I don't want. That maybe I'll have to like do extra. Because I think what happens is there's like a circle that builds if you don't do that, of just like always trying to have life happen in a way that is just easiest for you, and then the other person feels that and they do it easiest for them. It's a circle. But another way the circle builds of like there's a recognition very quickly that happens by the other, and then now they're more motivated to like be a spouse on the behalf of the other person rather than themselves. And it's just like a very self-fulfilling cycle that just starts with one person or both people prioritizing, I guess, but like truly desiring something good for the other, like the most. And I think if you can do that, you're just going to be so much happier because you're going to feel constantly empowered by your spouse, and you're going to find more joy in the moments that are hard because you're like getting excited for what it can offer for like the other person. So there's like a posture, I guess, that I think will make a marriage like much happier if you can have like kind of that mindset.
Thank you.
And I'm sure in any marriage, you're not always going to like do that all the time or feel all the time. But if you can always remind yourself to do it, the overall picture of your marriage will be good. Like it'll be a happy one overall. And I think we've been more of that. I think we've been more wanting things for the other more than we have in previous years.
That's true. You're also letting me serve in kids ministry. That's something like I want to do, but I know that makes your Sundays a lot harder. But you kind of like will fully let me do that. So I appreciate that. Especially this month and next month, it'll be kids ministry and experiencing God on the same day. So that's double the childcare.
Yeah. I just get annoyed at the kids, not at you.
But that's because that's what you see that I want to serve in that way. So I appreciate that a lot. I know Sundays are a lot for you, and then you have to go into the work week.
Yeah. How about you?
I think for me, in terms of that within the marriage lens, would be that like you could walk into a marriage with like your ideal family vision in mind, whether that was like something you created when you were younger or like how your family grew up and whatnot. And so I think when it comes to marriage, you have to put your spouse's vision of that as important too. Not just say like what I see is important, because like it could come with good intentions or whatnot, but like really value your husband or your partner's like desires within that. And also like if their family life looked different than your family life, like how do we acknowledge those things, and then also like work towards creating our family life. I don't know. And if your husband is done after 2 kids, respecting that. I think those are important things. You know, and I think like sometimes we can get so tied to, oh, I thought this was what I would have, you know, or like I thought this was the family. And I'm not trying to say that in a mean way. I'm saying like then you're not going to be so grateful for the family you do have, because you're just like constantly hoping, oh, it'll be like this. But that's like your own dreamt up thoughts or even unsaid things. And I think it's either important to ask like, oh, can it be like this? Or if not, like what does it look like for us to create that image together and then work towards that together versus like being petty or mad with each other if it doesn't like happen the way we thought something would happen. Does that make sense?
And that requires, I think, a lot of communication.
Yeah.
So that you're
I guess that's the tip.
Just
Communicate.
viewing your family in your own lens, but you're hearing it from the other person's, and then you can like merge the two.
Yeah.
Kind of.
We had like a conversation about that stuff recently too, which the communication helped us understand like where we both come from on stuff. And then that helps us like work towards prioritizing each other's values in that versus like, oh, this is what I want or whatnot. So I feel like that's been a good thing as well. Well, what is one of your favorite things about me today?
Today?
Like this year.
Wait, today or this year?
Like today,
not
as
literally
in,
today.
not like 10 years ago or 11 years ago.
This day. So this current you, basically. So favorite thing about you today, like the current version of you compared to maybe like the old version of you. I think you put me on the spot. Why don't you go first so I can think?
Maybe like in the year that we got to see each other this year, what's one of your favorite things within this year? I think for me, overall, I do feel like you try to show up more and be your best. Like you try to put in, which sometimes I'm like, is that all your energy for the day? But I do think you try to put that in. And I see that this year a lot. And I feel like you, whether it's like with the kids, you know, and like how you try to like really engage with them or even like certain people now and like, even like trying to do like workout stuff in community base or, yeah, even if like you're drained and tired, like you don't wear the emotion on your sleeve. And, I've been able to see you like as a leader. And I think that's something I've always wanted to as well see. And I've been blessed to see that in the last handful of years. But this year, kind of like in your own ways, if that makes sense. Like even at work, even though you're in a virtual role, it sounds like you'll randomly have someone you're talking to about talk hytry, you know, and like, or like trying to go to the brunch if you can and like stuff like that, you know. And I think that's you trying to like show up in different roles at work, at home, or at church, or at your family with like what the capacity looks like for you. Yeah. Do you resonate? What do you think about what I said?
Yeah, that's true. I think I'm just less defeated by circumstances than in the past. So I have more capacity to be.
Yeah, I guess I picture this like guy talking, like if I get the kids, I try to get the kids because I want you to engage and like I think you enjoy that kind of stuff. So what I picture is like, you know, when you have that space, like you're looking for how you can be a positive presence to somebody. I don't know if that makes sense.
I do that.
I think so. Like
yeah,
and I feel like
that's the capacity that has grown a lot.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that.
Yeah,
that was like the first picture that came to my mind. But I was like, how do I verbalize that?
Yeah.
Because it's not like I see you in all your roles or whatnot. You know, you might not remember what you talked about with that person the next day or the next hour, but you're very like that time was full, which is what I feel.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people look up to you. Like, I think you are like a very reliable presence for a lot of people. So that's special. Like I think that's a really cool quality to have in a partner, someone that you know is like consistently there for their relationships. So I like seeing that side of you, and that just grows, I think, as you get in more kind of seasoned and leadership roles. Within the church and just like the social community as a whole, not just the church. I think for us, I think I'm struggling to give a specific answer just because it's like a kind of generic, but I think like this is the best version of you as like a wife for me. So I'm saying from my point of view. So like it's, I'm not saying like it was like bad before, but I think just this natural growth of you just kind of being willing to, I don't know, work with me with some of the stuff I struggle with and to encourage me in some of the stuff that matters to me. And just like overall, just feeling a presence of like, yeah, like this is a wife that is like for me and that is good for me, you know? Yeah. So it's generic. So like it's hard to say one thing, but yeah, like I just feel like this is like the best wife version of you I've had.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. Is that good?
Are you crying?
No. Well, it's an emotional topic. I'm definitely not crying, but yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that. Is that it?
It's pretty good. It's been a lot of podcasting today.
You're going to hear this one first, but we recorded the Court of Gold first, and you'll be hearing that soon after. Get excited for both of us to share. This one seems very like, actually some of it was argumentative, but it seems much more lovey-dovey. And then the next episode, we're going to be arguing about some basketball. But in 3, 2, 1, say what fruit you think our marriage is in this year. 3.
Oh, I have to think about it. What fruit our marriage is in?
3, 2, 1. Mango.
Banana.
Ew, banana. Why?
I don't have a reason.
For me, I was
just thought of
thinking
bananas.
I was thinking mango because one, it's like a fruit I really like, and I do feel like we're in a season I really like or getting towards there. And by season, it's like probably this, it's like hard. Marriage is so freaking hard. But also like Jaden really likes, like, is very comfortable with mangoes. And I think mangoes are a fruit that might not be like comfortable at first. When you're like a child, you're like, oh, what is this one? It's not like an apple or like one of the easier fruits like strawberry or grapes. But I don't know, for at least our kids, they are finding comfort in mangoes, and I am finding comfort in our marriage.
That's good. I think I said banana because if you buy bananas, most of the time they're good, but if you catch them at the wrong time, then they're not good.
So is that where our marriage is right now?
Most times it's good. It can get, if you wait too long, they get unhealthy and they start getting a little, what's it called? Bruised. And then
Mushy.
Yeah. And if it's too early, it's a little hardened.
Oh, bananas are kind of sensitive. Like I am. Like if you like punch it, it will get mushy.
Yeah.
Versus like if you punch a mango.
But if you just eat it in like a normal time frame, then it's really good fruit.
So what does that mean in our marriage?
So I would say like the norm is good, but then sometimes it can be a little hardened. Sometimes you can be a little.
Because I hear that, I'm saying
unhealthy.
Like we need to talk at the right times in order to stay healthy.
Not that deep.
All right. Well, happy 7 years, Matt.
Happy 7 years.
Do you want to go on a date? Like, do you want to celebrate the actual day of our anniversary as a family? Because it's our family anniversary. It's when our family started, which was just the two of us. Or do you think an anniversary should always just be you and that person?
I'd rather just be, but just us two.
Oh, see, I would rather it just be like our family. Interesting. I think how you answer that question with your spouse might kind of like also share.
I think most guys are going to just say they don't want the kids there.
Oh, and most girls are gonna say
some girls
altogether.
At least I don't know if most girls, but some girls.
Because I think it's special. Like
very rare for a guy to say that they would want a family thing on a like date night.
Well, it's not like we wouldn't have a date. It's like, would we go on a date on a weekend, or would we go on a date on the exact day?
No,
you know
that's less important to me. The exact date is not that important to me.
So, but I think like on the exact date, I would want to like have a tradition of spending that with our family. Because like
I'll be fine with that.
Okay, sounds good. Because it's a Monday and we have no cell, so we should enjoy it together.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alex and Jen, thank you. It's crazy how much they love them. Thank you guys for listening. For some of you who have been with us in year -3, to some that have been a part of our marriage and our growth in the last couple years, we appreciate you all. And this is just a sincere thank you, and help us get to number 10.
All right. Thanks for listening to another episode of
Kohler Commentary. Bye.